Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where we're looking at badly made movies that did badly at the box office. Video game edition!
Huzzah!
Wow, wow, wow! Or should I say, bleep, bloop, bloop.
Nice, good. That's the one-up noise.
Yes, it
and
is.
Never is it more appropriate than this one, Warcraft.
Yeah.
They're always getting a one-up in those
Man,
games, as far as I know.
I remember using a hand to look over a map, and I put the hand over a big one-up, and I pick it up, and then my hand gets a one-up. I've got two hands.
Yep, good. I've never played World of Warcraft.
Me neither.
And I know we look like people who've played World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I know I either look like a guy with a 3-monitor setup or a guy who lives in a lighthouse. But I'm neither of those things, all right? I'm somewhere in the middle.
So what does that mean?
I'm a regular man?
That's not true either.
Weigh in the comments. Am I a regular man? Am I normal?
Let him know.
Yeah.
Let him know if he's normal and a regular man.
But I did play the original Warcraft in Warcraft 2, so like the real-time strategy ones, not the...
Not what it's become.
The MMORPG.
The monolith.
Situation. The monolith that is World of Warcraft. I knew it from the moment I saw it. I'm like, I cannot devote a single second to this because otherwise it will destroy my life.
Absolutely. You're saving up for that lighthouse as well.
That's true. That's true.
You got to pick one. You got to pick a road.
I'm going to have so many monitors in that lighthouse. You better believe it.
Leave a like if you could. This is a pretty impressive undertaking for a movie that nobody saw or remembers.
Absolutely. So this is Duncan Jones.
Yep.
Zowie Bowie himself.
That's
first
right.
of all.
Yeah.
He directed Moon.
Yep.
A movie that I think is generally very highly regarded. Mm-hmm. He directed Mute, a movie I've not seen.
He directed Source Code.
Well, I was going to say, last week we talked about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Creep.
This week we're talking about Duncan Jones. I'm like, I wish I was watching Source Code.
It's all coming together, isn't
Yeah.
it? Mm-hmm. Toby Kebbell's in this.
Toby Kebbell's in this twice. He's back. He was in it last week. And he's back with 2 roles. He's like, one's not enough for me.
This is a big year for Toby Kebbell. And by that I mean us talking about movies that Toby Kebbell are in. Don't you think?
They are movies Toby Kebbell are in. It's true.
So this opens with Callan Mulvey, the patron saint of our podcast, The Weekly Planet, who looks like he's about to get stomped by an orc. So that was actually filmed as an initial teaser. That's the first thing they ever did.
Oh, I see.
And they slotted it into the front of this movie to be like, remember a time before this? I'm like, well, I don't know what this is, so I don't...
Yes.
I don't know.
That's-
I like it, though.
The movie itself. As
Well,
a whole.
that and that opening. I like
Okay,
the
sure.
opening
I
there.
do like it. Yeah, absolutely. I think the question that this movie gave to me was, do the fans love this one? I'm sure we'll get to it later, but there's a lot of lore in this, and there's a lot of kind of...
The mailbox is a big deal, apparently. People are like, there's a mailbox like in the game.
This here is a mailbox.
You know, you wave the hand over the mailbox, you pick up the mail,
Nope.
and it says, cha-ching,
One up.
one up.
No, I don't know what that is. No.
Okay, fair enough.
No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the movie, James.
Well, do you want to talk about the lead up? Because
Yes, sure.
initially, it was announced in 2006, but then it was cancelled by Blizzard, or postponed really, because they were worried of the similarities to Lord of the Rings. But really, that's probably a good time to do it.
Absolutely.
Because Lord of the Rings was done. There was no big fantasy property, probably outside of Harry Potter, that was doing any kind of real numbers. And this had a huge fan base then, right? Anyway, Sam Raimi came on board in 2009 with a script by Gary Whitta, who of course wrote Rogue One, or some of Rogue One. I don't know who wrote Rogue One. Nobody knows. It's one of those Hollywood mysteries.
I think it was one of those situations where every single person wrote one page and then just handed it off to the next writer, and they couldn't read the previous page, just write another page.
Absolutely. But he ended up getting replaced by Duncan Jones in 2013. Duncan Jones, though, said that original script was very one-sided. So the humans were the good guys and the monsters were the bad guys. So when he came on board, he was like, he scrapped all of that and he wanted to tell both sides of that story, which I love.
Because you see both sides.
I see both sides, Mason.
Absolutely, yeah.
I see the sides of the humans, who seem to be mostly good, except for that corrupt wizard, and all of the orcs who are mostly terrible, aside from maybe 2.
Sure, absolutely.
And the others are just like, yeah, who are we stomping? Yeah, whatever. Oh, we're not stomping them now. We're stomping this guy. All right.
All right, that fits with our code of honor, apparently, which we have.
That's right.
They don't look like, I mean, you know, I'm judging a book by its cover, but they don't look like, you know, a race of beings that have a code of honor, you know what I mean?
No, they don't.
And that doesn't like, it doesn't feel to me, I don't know, maybe it's...
As an orc racist, how does it feel to you?
As an orc racist, I kind of feel like the orcs depiction in the media, whether it be this or Lord of the Rings or maybe like a Warhammer, they're, you know, the orcs strike me as like chaotic kind of party dudes kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
They don't strike me as, but I mean...
Big boys running amok.
But again, maybe that's, you know, in the World of Warcraft world.
Sure.
Maybe they're all about that honor, you know?
You might be right. So the source for this movie, a lot of the story from this, I can't speak to this at all. It's taken from the books Rise of the Horde,
Okay.
which tells of how the Orcish Horde was formed, and The Last Guardian, which shows the human side and reaction to the Orcish invasion. There was also another director who put their hand up for this project. I might save that to the end because it's a fun one and a fun, mean quote, which I love.
Great.
It was filmed over 123 days, looking at a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, like huge sets. Everything's big and thick, and it makes people look small. They're in like giant halls and giant chairs, and they look teeny tiny. Why are you building your stuff so big?
Right?
You're little.
Build it normal. Or smaller. Then the actors don't have to work out.
That's right.
They'll already look big.
It's a very busy movie, at least initially, because I was trying to keep track of like names and locations, and I think that wouldn't be a problem if I was immersed in this universe. I think I'd be like, oh my God. But to me, it's just sounded like, we got to get the Bloggensphere. King Grampton needs the Hexadorf. And I'm like, hate all of that. But all that kind of falls away. Also doesn't really matter to the ultimate storyline.
Yes, this movie grew on me by about the halfway mark.
Yeah.
I was on board, and I think it's probably not so much that I've become endeared to the characters, but more that I've done that. There's been a realization that none of these names really matter.
It seems like if you know it, it's a nice little nod. And I know you mentioned this earlier, that people on the whole do like this. It got savaged by regular critics like us.
That's right.
I mean, this is not something to go by normally, I would say. And you could even disregard this, but it's got a pretty significantly high Rotten Tomatoes audience score.
I see.
And I think that indicates that if you have seen it, you're a fan, and then you would go to this to voice your approval.
Absolutely.
So that's how I read that. Yeah.
Tell you what I like about this movie.
Yep.
I think all the character designs are great. All the various orc, they've clearly taken a lot of time with every orc design, or at least every main orc character. You know, they've all got a nice different look. They've all got different bejeweled tusks.
A big tusk.
They've got a big tusk, or they've got, assorted animal skeletons that they're wearing as armor and all that sort of stuff.
Nooks and crannies all over them.
All of their various nooks and crannies, of course. And, of course, Paula Patton as the half-orc, who they just went, let's just have a regular lady and paint her a sort of pus green.
Yeah, initially I'm like, is this a tall woman? I mean, she's tallish.
Sure, yeah.
But she's not that much taller than a regular woman, or maybe even arguably the same height.
Yeah. She has to interact with the humans the most.
Yeah.
So you need one that isn't as heavily CGI'd as
Do
all
the
the
Hobbit
others.
trick.
Exactly. And also, they want to give her a sort of, little bit of a romance situation.
Yeah.
You need that between her and Travis Fimmel's character. But I do think it would be better if she was just a regular orc in that situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny.
Yeah, for you it's funny. And also upsetting because you're an orc racist.
That's correct, yes.
Just to be clear though, I'm also an orc racist. One thing I find really funny about this universe and this movie is that pitting a normal person or even a soldier against an orc is insane. That's like fighting a bear in armor who can use a mace.
Right.
Like, that is wild. One of them just throws a horse at one point. And I know you use skills and speed to get around them.
Yeah, but you can't dodge a horse, can you?
No, you can't.
A horse being hurled at you. But I mean, you don't, in a lot of cases you don't need that, because if you're a main character, you have that plot armor, that special kind of plot armor where you get flung out of danger instead of being squashed flat.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
one of those movies, you know?
Yeah. And I'm sure also the balance in this works the same way as it does in the video games, where everybody has a different whatever.
It all balances out. One guy's got strength, one guy's got speed. But I think one side should have strength and speed.
It seems like one side does have strength and speed.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Reflects real life. Sometimes somebody's just better than you.
Also, I felt emotions during this. There's a moment where...
Did you need to pee?
No,
Is that what
Mason.
you're talking about?
No, never.
Ah.
There's a moment where Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings, Travis Fimmel,
Yes.
his son gets killed, and it's like, that's a sad thing. And for me, I'm like, go get some revenge, man.
No, see, for me, that happened, and I went, did we see his son before this? I don't remember.
Look, that
And I
might-
was paying attention, but I'm like, good emotional stakes if I'd met that kid before, and I don't know if I had.
Yeah, I'm sure you had. There was probably a moment where it was like, I believe in you and whatever. I believe in you and whatever.
Sure.
Whatever you need to hear. Anyways, Wizards and Magic. I just want to say, sweet gig for Ben Foster, who spends most of this movie lying on the floor or taking a bath.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
At the end, he just gets to lie under a statue. Oh, the dream. Just to lie down and just fall asleep. Oh, my God.
Yeah, but also I feel like they were setting him up for a fall because I imagine last day of filming, they're like, all right, 9 hours in the makeup chair, actually.
Oh, yeah. Because he was an evil wizard, actually, wasn't he?
He was an evil wizard all along.
Yeah, God
See
damn.
that coming, did you?
No, I didn't. I mean, he used some evil wizard magic pretty early on, didn't he?
Almost immediately, and all his behavior was evil wizard behavior.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Makes me wonder why they were all like, Ben Foster, my good wizard friend, my wizard friend for decades. Is he your mate that's always acting out? Are you friends with him anyway? He gets beaten up and all your friends are like, kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, we could have stepped in, but, he kind of deserved it.
He kind of deserves this one.
Yeah. I do like the magic of this world, though. I feel like it's pretty impactful. There's fun little moments where just a guy gets turned into a sheep and left.
Yep.
I don't know how that works. I know it's in the game, but, like, do you turn back? Is anybody coming back?
It lasts a minute. Were you not listening, James?
No? And the bad guy, the bad wizard, it was pretty crazy when he took his cloak off. He's a big muscular guy.
He was ripped.
He was ripped, man.
Yeah.
That was
He's
crazy.
the strongest and the fastest, and he's good at magic.
Yep.
Because sometimes life is just like that. Sometimes you have a go at a guy at a bar, and it turns out he's actually really big and really strong and fast, and he can do magic.
And
he pulls a coin out of your ear, and then he sticks it up your nose, and you're like, ah!
Man, he'll hug the life out of you. There's that moment where he's got the human next to him and he's just like feeding off him slowly.
Vape style.
Oh,
He's got to constantly get a puff of that human soul vape.
Delicious. Yeah, and I was more invested as it went along in the final battle, and it's happening on multiple fronts. You got a wizard showdown with young kid wizard and Ben Foster.
That's right.
And you got to open the gate because the orcs are going to come through.
Yeah. This is a close the gate movie.
It is.
You
got to close the gate.
Every movie of this genre is either a capture the orb movie or a close the gate movie.
Sometimes both.
Sometimes it's both.
At least with this close the gate movie.
Glenn closed the gate.
Whoa, very good.
She's in this. She gets an uncredited cameo. I think she recorded that in a closet on her phone camera, and they just CGI'd everything around her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think you're right. God, Glenn Close. Do you think they could have given that role again to Toby Kebbell maybe?
No, because Glenn Close is the world's biggest World of Warcraft fan.
I didn't know that.
I knew it.
Does she know that if you dig really far down in World of Warcraft, you'll get to the Dungeon Keeper universe?
Huh.
Did you know that? And if you go into the sky, it's Flight Simulator.
That's amazing.
All these games are linked.
They're
People
all
don't know
connected.
that.
That's wild. It's wild.
But I was invested in that final battle. This kind of snuck up on me. Normally a movie like this, you get less invested as you go along, but it's the opposite.
What do you think that was? Do you think it's the emotions? Do you think it's because the orc visual effects, they clearly worked on them enough that you actually can see them emoting?
Yes.
Whereas a lot of this sort of movie, it could be anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the Gollum, it's the Andy Serkis team, it's all of that.
It's Toby Kebbell.
It's Toby Kebbell.
Cobra.
Yeah. So it makes sense that it looks like this. And also, people die in this that are important. The lead orc dies, as does his wife. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, anything can really happen here. I hope Dominic Cooper doesn't get stabbed. He does!
Oh.
He does, he gets stabbed.
Yeah, he gets stabbed.
He's Tony Stark's dad.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, man. Just linking it to Marvel, you got to. Also love that if you're fighting against the orcs and you're a half-orc woman and, you're fighting alongside the king and the king says, why don't you just stab me just quickly? And then you do that.
Code of honor.
Code of honor. All the orcs are just like, great. You weren't getting swarmed by orcs and, look, we were going to kill you, but then at the very last second, you killed this guy and now you're the best. I don't know, man. I don't know about all that.
Do you think it should work like that in real life? Like maybe you're in a long line at the supermarket and everybody's upset, but you just kill a guy and they're like,
woo!
Wow, you can go first now.
And there's a showdown at the end, a big revenge showdown against Travis Fimmel and a guy with the gooeyest, spikiest hand who killed his son.
That's right.
Look, I like how it went down. Go for the nuts makes sense. Bold move also. Do
they even have nuts?
Exactly.
Well, they have babies.
Yeah, but maybe not from there.
Oh, it's a great point.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be all tusk related.
Could be tusk related.
Yeah, but it's not because they got him in the nuts. I was kind of hoping for more of a knockdown kind of drag out brawl because I had seen this at the movies. I'd forgotten most of it.
Yes.
But, whatever, I guess. But boy, doesn't this set itself up for a movie to come.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the stakes have never been higher. Don't worry about it.
Do we get it? Do we get the sequel?
No.
Oh.
Or we can talk about that after we do Trivia Craft.
I like that. Yes, good.
The trivia section of the show. Here's some names that were considered for the lead.
Travis Fimmel.
Travis Fimmel, Australia's own.
Is he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
He's in Vikings.
He's in Vikings. He was a male model. He hasn't got it now. He's not as good looking
I
as
was
he
going to
used
say,
be.
was he a male model for Awful Scraggly Beard magazine?
I mean, he is now.
Yeah. I'm a creep who lives in a lighthouse magazine.
No, he's very good looking still, Mason.
I've got a 3-monitor setup magazine.
He wouldn't have 3 monitors. His phone probably flips out. He's a
Yeah.
man of the land, as far as I can tell from his Instagram.
Hey, what's going on? Don't be a prick.
Paul Dano feels more wizard related, don't
He
you
could
think?
be the little wizard man,
Yeah.
yes.
Anson Mount.
That works. He's more the king, though,
I
would say.
agree.
Yeah, okay, all right.
He's too big to be the king. You need a little king.
Yeah, that's
Makes
right.
everyone else look big. and
it's
all
true.
the props look bigger.
Yeah.
Anton Yelchin
Okay, I
Yeah.
would see him more as the son, maybe.
or the wizard.
Could be
the
the
young
wizard.
wizard.
The young wizard.
Yeah, R.I.P. One of the greats. There's a lot of video game stuff in this as mentioned. Their little war tables got little hexagonal parts to it.
Okay, they're great.
It's
good.
from games.
That is from
the
games.
mailbox, it's from games.
The mailbox is from games. It's
Yeah.
true. It's undeniable.
And remember how I mentioned another director threw his hat into the ring for this?
Oh, yes.
Now, there was a man who ran amok
Okay.
between the years, I don't know, roughly 2000 to 2010, just making any kind of video game adaptation that would allow him.
Oh, I know who this is.
Yeah,
Is it Mr. Uwe Boll?
it certainly is. So he contacted Blizzard about directing the film, but
Well, it's a great start if you're walking down the street putting out resumes.
Blizzard refused.
We've seen everything you've done, they said.
Uwe Boll spoke to MTV News, and this is how he frames it. I got in contact with Paul Sams of Blizzard, and he said, we will not sell the movie rights, not to you, especially not to you, because it's such a big online game success. Maybe a bad movie would destroy that ongoing income. Which is possible, I guess. I mean, this survives outside of bad movies
Yeah.
or movies that don't do well, so I'm sure it's fine, right?
That's quite refreshing that he just said.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't sugarcoat that at all. He didn't say, oh, they said you'd be too good at this. We'd never be able to make a sequel because your movie will be too good.
Yeah.
At least he said, no, we won't sell it to you because your movie will be bad.
Anyway, in terms of budget,
Go on.
it cost $160 million, which at the time, not adjusting for inflation, was the most expensive video game movie.
Okay, all right. Was it also the most successful video game movie at the time?
It was one of, because the return of this was $439.1 million. It also did really well in China. Mm-hmm. It holds the record for the largest weekday to midnight opening.
These last few weeks, we've been calling this a series of badly made movies that did badly.
Yeah.
But compared to some of the
Oh my
massive
God.
flops of the last couple of years, these are doing quite well.
This is also on the upper echelon for me of video game movies by quite a long way. It's a pretty good one, Mason.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about like the last couple of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You know, there's been some soft box office openings recently.
The Fall Guy.
Precisely. Mm-hmm. $400 million is not bad.
No. Well, according to THR, it needed $450 million to break even.
Oh, well, then it is bad.
Yeah, and executives say that it lost probably $30 to $40 million for them, which is funny because it's just executives.
Yeah, it's not our money.
That's funny to me.
That's right.
What are they going to spend the money on anyway?
No, they're just going to put it in their bank account and watch number go up.
That's right. Now, director Duncan Jones, though, he's acknowledged the problems with this movie and stated that the initial cut was going to be 40 minutes longer, but there is no extended version.
I don't think that's what would have saved it.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Yes.
It's not like a clean 40 minutes. It doesn't exist.
I see,
So he
okay.
said, trying to make a movie like Warcraft, you get killed by the death of 1,000 cuts. You go through a writing process up to the deadline of shooting the thing. You lose ideas in the writing process. Then sets change for whatever reason and notes come in. You're changing things around a 3.5 year process. You get these little changes that are constantly course correcting. When you make a little change, it doesn't seem like a big deal. When you keep making those little changes, suddenly you're basically spending all of your time trying to work out how to patch up what has been messed around with. And as a result, a lot of scenes ended up not being filmed or omitted in the early phase. They cease to exist because the effects work never gets done. Some of it's not even at that stage, so there is no possibility of there ever being a director's cut. It's purely in my head. Also, Duncan Jones, his wife got cancer during the filming of this,
Oh.
but she got through it, and his dad, David Bowie, you might have heard of, died.
Oh.
So this is, like, again, amazing that it's like this. you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Anyways, Daniel Richman, who's a popular scooper, and people will be like, he actually scooping, shut up. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he isn't. It's just something to talk about in the video, all right?
That's right.
So Daniel Richman, though, revealed in 2020 that there is another Warcraft movie in the works, but we don't know what that is. I would say it's almost certainly not a sequel to this.
No, but if I had to guess, I would say full CGI animated and on Netflix, all episodes at once, and everybody will immediately forget about it. And they'll say, not a patch on the original. Not a patch on it.
No. All right, guess what? We got one more of these to do.
Oh.
And why not end on a real low? Here's a hint.
Why end on a real low?
Here's a hint.
You're about to enter the Animus. What you're about to see, hear, and feel are the memories of your ancestor, who has been dead for 500 years.
What do you want from me?
Your past.
Anyways, if you do want to see that early, you can actually head over to bigsandwich.co, where these always go up quite early, don't they?
That's correct.
But that's not the only thing up there. There's exclusive stuff. We do video game Let's Plays. We do movie commentaries. We do bonus podcasts.
That's right.
Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday, but of course there on Sunday. All of that is ad-free, as mentioned, exclusive. But you don't have to. You could just subscribe here and hang about.
Yeah, just watch all this stuff with ads.
Yep.
Maybe you love ads.
Maybe you love ads. Yeah, the podcast, it's got its own YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple.
It's on TikTok.
Is it? Oh, yeah, some of it's on TikTok.
That's right.
Clips, snippets. Get a feel for it.
Clippets.
And then say, not for me. Mute.
But young kids with video games, they like TikTok.
They love video games and TikTok. All right, thanks, everyone.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.